What's the deal, family? Welcome back to another SOS podcast. I'm Cameron, and this is my beautiful wife, Erin.
Hello.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing. Just excited for this wine. Cheers.
Got a little bit of rosé from
What are we sipping?
a winery called Bonobo, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Traverse City that we spent a couple days in for our 4-year anniversary. So got a good rosé. We bought a bottle because we bought a couple bottles of wine that we enjoyed, and this was Erin's favorite bottle that she had while we were there. So cheers to the rosé.
And I don't even like rosé, but this one is good. Like rosé is usually too dry and floral to me, but I don't know. I really liked this one.
It is good.
I think it could be just slightly colder, but otherwise it's fine.
Yeah.
Actually, we should have put it in that fridge.
I'm gonna still put it in.
Oh, okay. What did you think about our anniversary trip?
It was fun.
So we went to Traverse City.
I'm about to say, you didn't really give
Yeah, it was fun. That's
I'm
it.
like,
We went to Traverse City, which is upstate New York, Lord, upstate Michigan, and
called up north.
Yes, we call it up north, and they have a wine country up there, and it is beautiful. This was my first time going. You've been?
I've been, but I haven't been like none of my 20s, none of my like real adult time. So this is my first time going to the wineries. Like the time, it actually looks really much different than the last time I had been.
Mm-hmm.
And I never went to a winery.
Very cute. Like people come to Michigan just to go to Traverse City, like it's an actual destination. But it's one of those things like when you live here, you kind of just don't take full advantage.
Plus, people from Michigan or from Detroit, they like hate living here. So
and they don't like traveling in Michigan. Like, I feel like people think traveling has to be
out of state,
far, or even out of the country.
I mean,
like,
that's far enough. 3.5 hours, almost 4 hours.
Yeah. So we road tripped up there, and then we went to 3 different wineries. They were all nice, but we had 2 favorites. Okay, you would say the second one wasn't very nice.
I mean, yeah, no. It wasn't like horrible, but it wasn't like I don't have to go back.
Yeah. Now, we've been to Napa as well.
Yeah.
So which one would you prefer, Napa or Traverse City? I guess that could be the this or that, even though that's not what I was thinking. But which one?
I'm low key. Dang. I'm going to have to go with Traverse City because the food is 1,000 times better than Napa.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, the food was more enjoyable. I felt like there was also just more to do.
It was a lot.
Okay, so literally Napa is pure vineyards from what we experienced.
Yeah.
Whereas Traverse City, like they have hiking, they have outdoorsy stuff. I think the downtown is bigger than downtown Napa.
For sure.
Yeah, like more restaurants, cute coffee shops. Like it is really, I was thoroughly impressed with everything. So highly recommend, especially if you live in Michigan. And then there was beaches. So the beach was super nice, like pure white sand, clear
you can
water.
Go any time of the year.
Yeah. So we had a really good time.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Year 4. How was year 4? How did it go?
I think year 4 was really good. Obviously, I was pregnant for a chunk of it. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Like, we went on our anniversary.
You got pregnant the month after we turned 3. Like, the start of year 4. Yeah, November.
What did we do for our anniversary last year?
What did we do?
Did we do anything?
We may have not done anything.
Did we go anywhere?
I don't think so.
Huh.
I know I was injured last year, but I should have been good by... Good as in, like, I know I didn't have a cast on. I know the splint thing was off. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we were like, we went to Seattle, then Corey got married, and then it was like a kind of a cluster of things.
Oh, Seattle kind of would have been it.
Yeah.
Because I think that was actually in October.
No, that was in September.
Oh, so maybe right before. We may have, like, used that as.
Yeah, just like a whatever type of thing.
Probably so.
No, we went to Denver. That's what we did. I'm like, I know we went somewhere. Okay. So,
tweaking.
Yeah. So I was just trying to get a timeline of like what was the starting point of year 4. So it was Denver.
Yeah.
Yes, and then literally in November I got pregnant. So there was that.
Yeah.
So I was pregnant most of the 4th year, which was fine. I mean, I had a good pregnancy, but I mean, I wouldn't say year 4 was my favorite year of marriage just because I was pregnant for the whole time. Yeah. But we did get River in year 4, which was nice.
That was like the
highlight.
Best part.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a good year though. What did you think?
I mean, I enjoyed it, but like one part that I really enjoyed had really not much to do with you. I mean, I got my Corvette. Like,
oh yeah.
So like, I mean, stuff happened this year. It just wasn't like what we.
You don't work at.
Oh yeah,
job,
I don't work at my old job like
full time.
Oh yeah, a lot has happened. I guess this year.
And that's why I was telling Cameron, I'm like, I want to make a yearly scrapbook where we go through every anniversary and kind of like reflect on everything and take pictures out and like paste it into a book so we can really see like what we've done in that year. Dang. What else? Obviously we had River. I'm trying to think, did we do anything else?
We went to Cabo with our friends.
Oh yeah, we had a good trip to Cabo. We didn't travel much this past year because I was pregnant.
What did we do?
So there goes River.
There's River.
Wow.
All right, we'll see. Let's see if she calms herself down.
She's probably hungry.
I know. Come on.
Okay. Okay. So what are we talking about outside of 4 years? Well, I guess what's been your biggest maybe lesson or takeaway from the 4th year?
It's something I already know, but I feel like this year was kind of a big confirmation that your plans are literally not your plans. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like this was the year we went in. We were like, "Oh, we're gonna do 1, 2, and 3," and we did nothing of what we had planned because our lives changed the moment we found out you were pregnant. Yeah. So like, yeah, I would say that. Like that's something I know, but your plans are legit not your plans.
We literally had this whole thing planned. We were like, we're going to go to different
states. Like this year was supposed to be like a big year. It was a big year for a different reason, but it was supposed to be a big year. This was
supposed to be a big year for us to like travel to different states and like see how we like living other places, create content in other places.
Maybe buy another house.
Meet new people, like do all the things, kind of like that last hurrah before we did decide to settle down and have a kid. But then we settled down and had a kid before we actually intended to. So, but I mean, everything is fine. It's just things just don't happen how you think they will a lot of the time. So I think that is a good lesson. She's definitely up.
We can get through it.
Okay. I think for me, it was, I think the same. Like kind of roll with the punches. Like just take things as they come, and like for me right now it's been like every day is a case by case thing. Like just take things day by day because you just don't know what the day is gonna bring. I think before it was kind of like, okay, life is, we kind of have a little bit more control, but now with a kid it's like
you got control, but the control looks different.
Control looks a lot different. So but I mean, all good things.
But year 4, now going to year 5, we started it off with obviously the trip we talked about. And then we got River her first piece of life insurance. Yes. Which brought on the, topic. I guess it's 2 parts to this. We talked about our anniversary this year 4. We gave a recap, but I guess kids and money. Do you teach them about money early on? Do you not teach them about money? How were you taught about money, or like what we taught about money? So I guess kind of quickly over that, like I guess after we got River her first policy, which is something that
it's like an investment. policy.
Investment policy, and that's something we learned about once we got married. Like we got our policies, and we were like, oh,
you can
get this for. Oh, that's when we got engaged.
We got them right when we got engaged.
Yeah, so like, we got all these. We learned all this stuff about investing and like different ways, and we had never heard of this until we got knowledge and taught about it, and we were like, "Oh, you can do this for kids."
Yeah.
And it's funny because right when we got it, someone was coming in, and our insurance agent, she was like, you can do it immediately." So
like 2 weeks after they're born.
River is 2 months old, and I guess we waited a little late. But she's on and popping, and by the time she's 10, she'll have more money than I was making at age 18.
Yeah.
So there's no telling how much money she'll have by
the time she's like
20,
grown,
like that age.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
I think we should go get her.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you awake? She is risen.
Okay. If you're watching, obviously you see River is here. If you're listening, River is here. She literally does this every time. She was knocked out cold
for like 4 hours straight.
As soon as we started recording, like I don't know, what are we? 13 minutes in, she's up.
Yeah.
So
she's like, I am running the show. Thanks.
Say hi, River.
Hi. Okay, so yes, so River has her own policy. I think a big thing for us was just setting her up as soon as we could with something at least, because we're kind of looking at ourselves and saying, what do we wish we had? You know what I mean? Yep. And obviously every generation, parents do what they feel they can for their kids. But I think it's just really important for us to like start setting her up as soon as possible. Yeah. And I'm sure we'll have more policies or more accounts or more whatevers that we can for her. But right now, I think that this is a good start. And, you know, I don't know. I it's such a blessing to be able to even do this. Yeah. But it kind of sparked our conversation of how much do you tell your kids about money growing up? Because I felt like I never knew how much my parents made. That was never something that they shared with us. I never knew how much bills cost. I never knew how much, I didn't even know car insurance was a thing until I had to pay my own car insurance. And I literally was at the Secretary of State. No. I didn't know about tags, and I didn't know about car insurance.
Yeah, this is all at the dealership.
So I literally, when I found out about tags, because when you buy a car, it comes with the first year.
Right.
So I had got my Jeep. Didn't know about car insurance. Didn't know that you have to pay like $100 of extra dollars a month for the car insurance on top of the car note. I thought you just paid the car note. And then once it was time to renew my tags, I went to the Secretary of State and I was like, they were like, yeah, it'll be like $280. I literally called my mom. I said, what they said they were charging me $280 for this. What is this a scam? She was like, no, Erin, that's how much it costs. I'm like, why did no one ever warn me? So it's stuff like that where I felt like a lot of times I do feel like we kind of grew up in a generation, and obviously every parent is different, but I do feel like we kind of grew up in a generation where money was like not something you talk about with your kids. Like you kind of sheltered them in a way, and kind of just...
It's kind of like this hidden notion.
Yeah, it's kind of like and then it was like if we didn't have the money, it would be kind of like, we're on a budget or things are a little tight. But it's like you don't know what that means as a kid.
It's like the perception is created like, oh, we're doing fine. Like you might be getting the toys you want, or whatever the case may be, and then all of a sudden like, oh no, we a little tight right now.
Right.
But it's like, what does either of those sides mean?
What does that mean? Like how much money is a lot of money? How much isn't a lot of money? Yeah. And it's funny because when I was all
relative, by the way.
Yeah, I was in first grade and we had journal entries, and I still have my first grade journal. And one of the entries was, what would you do with 100 pennies? And I'm like, I would buy a house and a this and that.
What was $1?
And then that day we learned that 100 pennies equals $1. And I was just like, what? And I feel like that kind of oblivion just kind of carried on throughout a long time. Not that oblivious, but like you get what I'm saying, like metaphorically, like you just really don't have a concept of how much is how much, right. You know? Yeah. So what also, how was your upbringing?
Mine was different. Mine was different. My mom did a great job. So I'll put you this. My mom did a great job in the sense that my credit was A1 by the time I was 18, which I was, but also I wasn't aware that it was. And it's not that she was hiding it. I think she kind of forgot to explain like why she even did what she did. So she made a good move, but she never
really broke it down.
Yeah. You know? And my dad, he just kind of be all over the place. So it's like some days he up, some days he down. And it's just like, well, I don't know. You know, so yeah, there is maybe a little different because my dad used to give me like a couple $100 if I go to work with him. So I had to understand like, no, you need to work. You need to go to work to get some type of money. So I did know that. But yeah, it's all these different things, and even the perception of what it means to how you get it or whatever. Like, it's weird because my granddad was an entrepreneur, and I don't think none of his kids are. So he did one thing, and then
she's done.
You done?
Yeah. She's like, I'm done with this, Daddy. Bottle next to the wine.
Cheers.
So none of your mom's siblings are entrepreneurs.
Not that none of them have been entrepreneurs. That I feel like, again, I feel like, it was kind of just that job security thing is what they went into versus what our grandparents came out of, or
right, because my granddad was an entrepreneur too,
and it's just like, but I would say too, that far back in the day for our grandparents, most of them had no choice but to be entrepreneur because that's how they would provide for their families, or they were like in the service, which both of our granddads was also in the service. Yeah, so like it's that. So I get it. I think it's supposed to get better as time goes, or each generation as we go, but that part was a bit weird when I think about it. It's just like, no, none of y'all.
Like, how did that trait not get passed down?
And we still struggle today with my mom. Like, you could be doing
she
one,
could
two,
literally
you could
be
be
doing
retired
so
and
many
living
things.
your best grandmother life, but
you don't want to take that leap.
Yeah, you're scared.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it looked different in a different way. I wasn't oblivious to.
So did you know how much things cost?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's different for guys too, for boys.
Okay.
Because it's just like what?
Like what? Why? What are the differences in your eyes from guys and girls?
I think boys, and probably subconsciously, they are taught like you're gonna have to provide it someday. So this costs $20. Yeah. And back then, $20 was a lot of money. So if you got your hands on a $20 bill, you cooking instead of 100 pennies. Right. But you know what I mean? Like, I guess those are just. I think the approach to a boy versus a little girl can be different in a lot of cases. Like, and we've identified that between the two of us as time has gone by, just like, dang, this is just so vastly different. Yeah. Like you had no idea about car insurance. I knew what car insurance was. In fact,
you was riding dirty.
My folks ain't well off. So like at a point in time in my life, I was riding dirty, and I knew I was riding dirty. It just don't get pulled over. I've had my fair share of cars, like I've mentioned previous times, and I didn't buy them from a dealership. Right. So I put it to you that way. But yeah, it's just like I know. Yeah. But also it's kind of like what I would have been looking for. It doesn't matter to me whether you're well off or you're not as well off, or whatever that means, because I know that's relative. But like, to break it down, if you're poor or rich. Like, where does our family stand at with that? And in terms of kids, we shouldn't be completely lost. Yeah. But the conversation came up because it's just like, do we or do we not tell River that
she has this policy, and she's gonna have,
and if something happens to us, like, hey, yeah, hopefully, like, not right now, but in the case that she was, I don't know, 6 or 7, she's like, oh yeah, mommy and daddy said I have something. Yeah. Like, on top of what we also have is hers. Right. So it's just like, she should be aware to some extent. Now, obviously, she won't be in control of it, but whoever is in control of it, I guess, we should trust them. I'm sure, and that's something else that's another conversation for another day. But like, we'll obviously trust those people, but also she should just simply know, like, oh yeah, she shouldn't have to struggle with the fact that we're not here and there was nothing left for her. Exactly. Which fortunately enough, we still have all of our parents here. But if that was our case,
she probably got a burp. Yeah. It's okay, sweetheart. You look stressed. But if that was the case, what?
But if that was the case for us, if one of our parents or both of our parents had passed when we were younger, we would have probably nothing.
Yeah, and it's also like, I mean, these are really important conversations to have with your parents. Like, do you have life insurance? Do you have, like, if you do, like, where is that money going? How do you want your assets
divvied
up. Like, do you have a will? Do you have a trust? Do you have, like, I think it's important. And we started asking, well, I asked my mom and she was like, she told me what the deal was. But like, those things aren't necessarily just etched out, super specified in a document. You know what I mean? To where if
we're still not really aware.
They maybe, God forbid, passed away, we wouldn't really know like where to start, what's what, what to do, who gets what. Like, and I think for us, we're like, okay, now that we have this, like, we need to start estate planning. Like, we need to get a trust and do this and do that. And like, now with having a child, yes, I do feel like a heightened responsibility to get those things in order, because even our insurance agent was like, I have everything mapped out to like where my Chanel bags are going, to where, our house, our cars, our wedding rings, our this, our that, like every single asset that we own, it's allocated, and certain things are going to certain people at certain times in their lives, and this and that and the third. And I'm just like, that gives you so much peace of mind, and it's not easy conversations to have, because it's obviously with death in mind.
But it's just like people don't want to have that conversation. Yeah. And the reality is, and I'm pretty realistic, is that like at some day we're all going to go.
Yeah.
And I think we have to kind of stop being afraid to at least have the conversation. That doesn't mean that we hope you're going to go or we think you're going to go tomorrow. It's just like, no, this is the life that we live.
Yeah.
We're humans, and at some point, like, we're going to die.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or not, like it's really not in our control, and we don't know when. So it's better safe than sorry, essentially.
Yeah.
But,
so when it comes to like girls and boys, do you think that there should be a difference in how you educate them on finances?
I don't think it should be a difference. I think there should be a moral valued understanding.
What do you mean by that?
Our values should be passed on to our kids, whether it's a boy or a girl. There shouldn't be like, oh, because River's a girl, like, well, you need to have these expectations that somebody's going to take care of you one day.
Yeah.
While that could be the case, if that man wants to, sure. But if he doesn't, you're good.
Yeah.
And you can be good also by yourself. Like, you should know that. Versus like, oh, I'm going to get married. I'm going to do all 1, 2, and 3. I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And even if you are, that's great. But it's not because you're dependent on the lifestyle that you were taught.
Yeah.
Versus a lifestyle of like, I'm good with or without. I don't know what my plans are, but I know I can be okay by myself. Yeah. That's the best way I can describe it. Yeah. And that's what I would like best to leave for our kids.
Yeah. I think one of the things that we talked about early on was we don't want our kids' success we don't want to depend on our kids' success. So like, if our kid, like, we're not banking on River to like make it so that we can retire, or we can get the things we want in life, or we can do, like, we don't want that. We want our kids to be able to be filthy rich if they start their own businesses or do their own thing, and not be like, all right, we've invested all this in you, like, time to my parents. Time to pay us back now. Like, no. And I don't think
that's not a bad thing.
I don't think that that's a bad thing. It's just not what we want.
Yeah.
I think so many parents pour so much into their children.
With the hope of that.
Yeah, with the hope of that. And obviously you want your kids to appreciate that. And like, I would want River to do something for me because she wants to, and not because she feels like she has to. Yeah. So that's the difference. But what about on more of a granular level? Like, okay, once she gets older, like, is she going to get paid for chores, or is she going to get paid for playing a sport or an instrument that she loves? Or like, how will we teach her about making money versus paying bills in a way that a child can understand, and maybe it grows as she gets older?
So I think my answer to that is that I don't think there's a way. I think we've talked about ways that we could kind of incorporate that, I guess, to yield those results. But my whole thing is that we have to judge the kid. We have to see where they are and kind of be honest with ourselves. Like, is she ready for that? Mm-hmm. Is she ready to maybe learn these next steps? Mm-hmm. I don't think it should never be a point to where we feel like they got to be older to know anything. If she's 5 and she's like a genius and she's like, oh no, I understand money, we need to talk about money.
Yeah.
If she's not, we may not need to talk about money yet because she got some other growing to do. I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
So I think my whole thing is just like allowing ourselves to allow her to grow up and respect the fact that she's growing up. That's what we do as people. Like we have to continually grow. Mm-hmm. And that's one way to grow is to be educated. And if we're not giving her the tools that we at least have, how can she even get the tools that we don't have?
Yeah.
Like I feel like she needs to be equipped in ways so that she can go out there and get whatever else we don't know about.
Yeah.
But if she doesn't know about what we already know about, how can she go out and get more?
Right.
That's kind of how I'm looking at it.
I think I would have appreciated when I was at least a teenager, because when I was in school, I remember having an assignment to write a check. And, like, they had these, like, check templates. And I always saw my mom writing checks, like, when we went to the grocery store. That was before, like, debit cards and credit
Jack
cards.
Days.
Yes, Farmer Jack. They put it in the little thing. Yeah. So I used to see my mom write checks and balance her checkbook and stuff. And I just thought that was so cool. And so when we had that assignment, I was so excited to write my own check. And I think just on that level, it's like I would have appreciated kind of sitting down and knowing, like, how do bills work, or how do like how do you write a check, like, from my parents, you know what I mean? Like, certain things that I just kind of you see in real life, but you don't really learn how to do those things, like booking a flight or booking, you know what I mean? Like, you get to be 20, you're like, oh shoot, I gotta book a flight. Like, how do you do that?
I was 24?
Exactly. It's like, these are life skills that really
is not taught in school.
Don't get taught in school, but I do think that as a parent, that is your responsibility. Yeah. So I think it would be cool.
Oh, wait, real quick, speaking of flights too.
She's spitting.
Bubbles.
Spit bubbles, yeah.
Use your shirt. Bib ain't down here. But I would even say going to even flights, like, at one point we were taught, or I know I was taught, like, just go get the cheapest flight. Mm-hmm. And the flight might be terrible. When you were living in DC and I started picking my own flight, and I flew a couple airlines, and I finally flew, like, Delta. I was like, we get food? Like, we get a snack? And I ain't stopped flying it since.
Yeah.
So to me, even from a money value standpoint, it's like, how do you actually value the money? Mm-hmm. Is it because it's the cheapest, or is it because it's the best quality that you can get?
Yeah.
And sometimes the extra $100 goes way further than the cheaper $100 flight that you could have got, but the experience was horrible. Yeah, it's just like, why did I do this?
Exactly.
I did not enjoy coming to DC this time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But it's just like, also, like, understanding that it's not about how much money you have, it's about how you use the money that you do have.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like my mindset toward it as well.
Yeah. I would be down to teaching River, like, sitting her down and being like, this is how much we make. This is how much everything costs. This is how much is left. Like, right. This is, like, I would have loved to know those things, you know? And I feel like if you are in a pinch, then your kids kind of have a better understanding of what that means, right, instead of just kind of being told no for things that they want, or you know what I mean? So I don't know. Money is definitely one of those things that figuring out how to integrate it and make your kids not just value money in a sense of, like, greed.
Toys.
Yeah, but, like, in a sense of, like, no, this is what we need to live. Like, how do you make your money work for you?
And how can you contribute?
Yeah, exactly. And how can you contribute? And it's like, I think financial education, as we were growing up, you were just told save. And like,
go get a safe job now, when you get out of college.
Yeah, open your savings account. Don't spend all your money on X, Y, and Z. But it's like, okay, actually, no, you can spend your money on the things you want. You just need to figure out how to make more money so that you can be responsible. Yeah. Like, I want you to have the things you want. And I think that's the way that I would want to teach about money, is like, no, I have things I want. And
we still struggle with, like, not.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and it's like,
or doing things that we want to do.
Yeah, or we'll just money hoard and have a bunch of money sitting in a savings account.
And we're trying to learn, like, what to do with it. But that's still, like, somewhat of an issue. It's like, we're still right now currently live action, present time, trying to learn what to do with the money that we have earned thus far. Like there's still things we are learning, but in the hopes that we can do it in time for her to benefit off of it, for one. But two, so that we can not only pass down to her, but also the people around us.
Exactly.
Who we know don't have that same knowledge.
Right.
But also we're like, people give us knowledge and we're like, oh, really? You can do that? So that's also, I'm appreciative of that as well. But yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, money. I mean,
it shouldn't be like this. I mean, I get it. I guess if you don't have much, I can get how it can be an insecurity, so to speak. But I've been broke before, and I don't think it was an insecurity. It's just like I need to get more money.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, it's like get more money. If you're not trying to get more money, then it's kind of like on you. Like you gotta kind of want to put yourself in a position versus saying like, oh shoot, I ain't got it. I'm gonna try to save very little what I do get, and that be that. But I'm not gonna do nothing with what I guess save.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of just like that abundance mindset versus like a scarcity mindset where you feel like this is it. You know, exactly. Like you're treating money as if this is it. And I think people can have an abundance mindset and not and shouldn't, in the sense that they're just spending money frivolously on things that they shouldn't prioritize. Yeah. I think there's a difference between having an abundance mindset and being responsible, and having an abundance mindset and being irresponsible.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But you know, I think that we'll kind of gradually start integrating money into teaching her even when she's a toddler, you know, and like, you know, has her little piggy bank or her little bank account or whatever we decide. Yeah. But you gonna know about some money, little Miss Mamas.
Yeah, for sure.
And you ain't cheap either.
You ain't. That's the other thing. Like, everybody be having babies. God. Babies are not cheap.
They are not.
So how you ain't teaching your little baby about, hey, you're gonna need to replace this at some point.
Right. Exactly.
Nah, but you know what I mean? Like you're expensive. You're only gonna get more expensive. So like, I would even think as a parent, like what we need to do so we can make sure we can keep, you know, giving the kids what they need.
Exactly. I do think there's a lot of conversations around money and how you raise your kids. And like some people say, I will never pay my kids to do chores because that's something that they're supposed to do. Like you shouldn't pay them for things that they should be doing anyway. Versus some people are like, well, I don't do chores. I outsource chores. I get paid for, I want to pay my children for doing things that could potentially lead to a career. So if they're really good at a sport or really good in a music or whatever, like I want them to want to keep doing that. So I pay them for the time that they spend on that.
Right.
Like what is your thought on, I guess, those two different takes?
I think where I am now, and somebody who I've been recently inspired by, Ryan Serhant, it's just like, and he's not the only one, but I don't know, the way he kind of describes things is very inspirational.
Yeah.
I feel like he's like stuck out to me in a whole different way, but he outsources things so that he can make more money.
Yeah.
Like he's spending the money so that he can make more money.
Yeah.
Someone cleans his house.
Right.
Now, I don't mind cleaning my house. In fact, I like washing my own cars. I like cutting my grass. So those are some things, maybe not cutting grass forever because I don't know how big our lawn would be at some point. But I understand now that, you know, sometimes you have to free up some space to create some other opportunities.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm really focused on. And I guess with that said, the whole idea, like I kind of agree with, and I know you sent me that, but I agree with like them getting paid to do something that is going to increase their chances for prosperity in the life that they're going to live.
Yeah.
Like, you know, create a big opportunity for them that we may have not had the opportunity to create for ourselves because of, and it's not blaming our parents, but just because of like, that's just what it was.
Yeah.
Like, that is what it is. And it's like, we have to do something different.
She's smiling.
we have to do something. And she's like, yeah, Dad, talk that. need that. But I don't know. I think it's just like, she should do better than us also. Yeah. Like, whenever she gets to our age, she should also, like, her conversation should be completely different. What we learning right now,
she should already
be like I said, at 10 years old, she gonna be good to go for at least 2 years. Yeah. Like, you know, or more. Like, so it's just like, I don't know. Like, she'll have a down payment for her house at 10. Yeah. Her future house at whatever age, if she never touches the money, she'll have her down payment for a house. Yeah. You know, like, we didn't have that. Yeah. I mean, we had a down payment, but we worked and saved. Yeah. Not, you know, so it's just, that makes it easier. That also gives you the ability to get the mindset of creating an opportunity and not focusing on trying to get to the house first. We already got you what you need right now. Right. You got your investment. You can get the house, like, if that's what you want.
Expense your energy on
or
pushing forward.
You doing what you got to do from whatever else we taught, and you still don't touch the investment. And maybe when you 40, you're like, I'm gonna finally touch this. I'm gonna go buy a hotel. Right. Now we talking. Yeah. Now you use that for something bigger than what we would have been able to use it for, or whatever, had we been 10 years old with the same opportunity that we are trying to create for our kid. Yeah. Exactly. So I guess that's the way I look at it.
I agree. And I think you can teach your kid responsibility and, like, being a part of, like, the household and contributing without feeling like, okay, if you take the garbage out, you get $20. You know what I mean? Like,
it's always like this.
It's like kind of a bribe system instead of like, no, like, reward. We contribute.
I'm a bribe you get rewarded.
This is our home. Like, you're a part of it. You know, like, there's ways to teach responsibility, I think, without this, like, direct exchange of, like, if you do this, then you get this.
Because when you're on your own, that is not the case.
Exactly.
And somebody might be telling you to take out the trash. And somebody, I forgot, I was watching something, and I think it was a funny Marco. He was like, you got something against the janitor? He was like, no, I respect the janitor, but I think it was Lou Young. But he was basically like, who do you know telling you when you grow up you should go be a janitor? It's nothing. It's not anything against a janitor at all. Right. But we have never been taught. There are people in this world that talk down on people who are cleaning up every day. So you don't know. Mm-hmm. One day you could. You don't know how the cards can play. Like, someone can be telling you, like, you better go take that trash out. And your reward ain't nothing like what your parents used to give you. But you could be expecting that because of the reward that, you were getting.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think you have to be careful. You have to be careful with, I guess, how you manage your family, manage your finances, how you teach it to your kids. Because some things can end up being full circle. Some things, of how you say it, can happen. Mm-hmm. Like, I fully believe that. So
I agree.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't. I think wanting the best from what we know is the best should happen, and we should see that through.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah. I don't think finances and all the other stuff that we may have missed out on should be something that she has to figure out in her 20s and then still kind of be figuring out in your 30s. Like, it's, like, I don't want her to be having to just figure out all this stuff that I feel like you shouldn't have to figure out. Yeah. It should kind of just be already a part of
your lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, that doesn't matter how much money you have.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. To me, that's generational wealth. Yeah. It's not necessarily about, like, I'm
dollar amount.
Passing down X amount of dollars to my kids who also don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm passing all of these values, all of this stuff down to them. Knowledge and money.
Yeah, and money. And we pass down money. Right. But everybody, I understand, like, at some point, like I said, I was broke. Like, the whole nine, whatever the case, my parents were not well off, like, all those things. Like, I've seen some things where I'm like, I don't want my kids to ever have to see that. Yeah. And this is, for me as a guy, and things are still not being said, like, I don't care what nobody say, kids see stuff. Mm-hmm. There's still stuff that, and you've seen it last summer, where my dad still thinks that I'm not aware of what was. Yeah. I'm like, bruh, I'm 30. What? Yeah. You think I didn't see that when I was 10? You still hiding behind the fact or trying to mask of something that, one, it doesn't even matter no more, but two, like, you can't pay the water bill, the electricity bill this time. I saw that. I seen a little key in the grass. I seen them dig up the grass before,
right,
and turn our water off, or you didn't know that I was going to the building with you to go pay the bill last minute or 5 days later. You know, like, I've seen that. It still ain't been no conversation. What I do know is she not gonna see that. But not only is she not gonna see it, she's gonna understand that there's a water bill.
Yeah.
There's the electric bill.
Like,
there's
the
a
stuff
gas
is not
bill.
free.
Yeah, it is not free. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there has to be a understanding somewhere there.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people who still that are going to experience and is experiencing the same things that I've experienced, and probably worse.
Yeah.
I just know that ain't what she about to experience.
Yeah.
Her experience will be more fruitful. With my idea of how we would like to do it, you know?
Yeah. And I think everything is just a learning opportunity for kids.
Yeah.
For everyone, but, like, for sure for kids.
For kids, yeah.
So I don't think sheltering, I think certain things can be sheltered until you feel like your children are ready to understand it.
Yeah.
But I don't think things should just be sheltered indefinitely because you think you're doing the best thing for them. I think, you know, obviously as parents, you make decisions that you think are the best, but at some point, it is helpful to go back and say, when we were struggling, this is what that looked like.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you might not be saying that as you're going through it because you don't want your kids worrying, going to school or at the store thinking like y'all ain't got nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you don't want your kids in that mind space either. But I do think that it's important to, like, then go back and, like, actually explain what certain things mean. So
yeah,
she will be well-rounded in that.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, even
yeah.
with the whole shelter thing, that's kind of what I meant by, like, you paying attention to your child. Are they ready to have a conversation about this? Are they ready to learn about money?
Exactly.
Sex? Like, all the things that I still ain't had a conversation for with my parents about. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Somebody here?
Milan.
Oh, okay. But yeah. Well, Aaron has company.
I know. I have company.
And
but yeah, great conversation. Let us know. I'm like, okay, wrapping up. Let us know what you think, like, in terms of the chores or paying them for doing something that they actually love. I think that would be interesting to know in the comments.
Was that your this or that?
No, my this or that was Napa or Traverse City.
No, I'm saying, like, what was your this or that going to be originally?
Oh, Christmas or Thanksgiving.
Oh, you can say that.
I'll do that next week.
But you already know my answer.
But yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Oh my God. Just rap.
All right, y'all. If you rocking me, then you rock with us. Take care of your family the best way you know how. Do what you can. Pray about it. Work for it. And, you know, do your thing. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.